Hi there, this is Dr. Gwen, and I would like to welcome you to today's broadcast. Today we are going to be talking about, is your wishy-washiness keeping you from manifesting your dreams? Now, I know everyone likes to make New Year's resolutions, and by this time in the year, many people have already abandoned their New Year's resolutions. And that is not something to say that we shouldn't make them. However, I personally don't make New Year's resolutions simply because I feel like there are resolutions to be made all year long. But whether you make New Year's resolutions or you make resolutions all day long, there are certain things that are needed for you to manifest the things that you want to see happen in your life. And I want to ask you today whether your wishy-washiness is preventing you from manifesting your desires. Now, I want to share a story with you today that I experienced about 5 years ago. A few years ago, I was being trained as a worldwide transformational leader. And in my cohort, there were a number of other individuals. In that group, we were going on our Christmas break, and we were to establish an intention for how many people we were going to lead to before we resumed our session the following year. Now, everybody was throwing out their numbers. Some said 2, some said 4, and I threw out some crazy number. I sat there and I thought, you know what, I am not going to limit myself. Let me throw something out. And I said some crazy number like 50 or 100. I don't quite remember which one it was, but it was one of those. Looked totally impossible to do within the short time frame that we had to return to, but I threw it out anyway. And so as the holidays wore on, I had exhausted my friends and my other relatives, and so I was able to lead to a couple of them, and then there were some others that I had not led to. Set up those information, got my sessions going, but I was a far way away from my reality. And then I thought, how can I make up the difference for what I need? Now, notice how I asked my question. I didn't say, what am I going to do? Oh my God, I'm doomed. I said, how am I going to make up the difference for what I need? And instantly a thought popped into my head. Why don't you pick up the phone and call one of the brokerages with which you are associated? So that's what I did. I picked up the phone and I called a brokerage. Luckily, they had a meeting that Wednesday. I think I had called them Monday. And they were able to fit me in on the schedule where I could come in and talk to a group of realtors at the meeting, do a lunchtime presentation. And so that's what I did. That bumped the number up significantly, but I didn't have enough to meet that 50 or 100. And so I thought, how else am I going to do this? I set out to arrange for those realtors who were not available to join me at an evening session. And I led. Now, at this point, I had no clue. I hadn't started to take note or assessment of how many people I had left to make up my numbers. But I went out and I led to that group. And so I came home. It was almost time to return, and I started collating from the 3 different groups of individuals that I had presented to. Friends and relatives, that big group, and the evening sessions. And don't you know, when I added it up, it was on the button, not one less, not one over. And I was amazed. And simply that caused me to remember how in the past when I had created something that I wanted, it would almost be up until the last minute, but that manifestation would come through. It mostly always did. And I thought, Wow, what is the power of this? This is something phenomenal. I wonder if this is the way it really works all the time. And it only took me a moment to look back through the history of my experiences to see that that is exactly how it worked for me. I wasn't wishy-washy about it. So here I'm going to share with you 3 or 4 different approaches that you need to consider this year as you work towards your manifestation. The first one is you really need to set an intention. You set an intention that is purposeful and that is really sure. In other words, you're not going to second guess and doubt yourself about what you do. Though doubts may creep up, you still have to step in and believe that it's going to happen. So I set an intention and I laid out a number and I declared it so. I was scared when I did it because I had no idea how I was going to achieve it, but it did come through. The second thing is, when you set your intention, don't sit and pray. Pray and act. That's what I did. Because I sat for a few moments, and as I saw the time closing in, I started thinking, how am I going to get the additional folks that I need? What do I need to do to get the additional folks that I need? See, asking the right questions is important to getting the right answers. If you say, well, I'm doomed, I can't do this, how am I going to ever do this? Well, you're not asking the right questions, you're not setting the right intentions, and you're not acting. How or what do I need to do to get this going? And the thought popped into my head, and I acted on that thought. I didn't just sit and hope that people come to me. And so you must act. Set your intention, be purposeful and strong about it. Act upon what you say you're going to do. And then the third thing is that why people actually get themselves influenced by their results or getting the results that they need is that they continuously purge their energies. And what do I mean by that? There are things that happen in your life that actually keep you stuck. And if you don't identify what those things are, they will block your ability to achieve what you want. Your ability to manifest what you want. You have to get those emotions out of the way. You have to get those hurts, those feelings, those anger, those things out of the way that could potentially block you from achieving what you want. Now you may be saying, well, Dr. Gwen, how in the world do I do this? There is a special process that you can do by just being with the feeling, just being with it until it dissipates. But I have to really tell you that it sometimes can be very challenging when you're doing it on your own. I reference it as energy clearing. And I'll say a little bit more about that in a few moments. But I just want to divert to say one additional thing that many times too, when you set your intentions, whether it is something physical or whether it is energetic wise, relationship wise, or even money, there may be things in your life that you are actually doing that is preventing you from achieving what you want. And you have to sit with it. If a certain circumstance keeps presenting itself in front of you, no matter who you're with, different people, different faces, same circumstance, that is time for you to pay attention, to see what it may be that you need to pay attention to, what it is that you need to clear so that you can move to the next step. Because sometimes, most of the times, those things that keep showing up again and again are things that are for your personal growth and advancement. And until you clear those things out of the way, you might just pack up shop and go home. You may be asking for a new partner. What is it that keeps showing up when you're in a relationship? Is it something that you need to address personally in your own life that may be blocking this? That could be something. So people who get what they want continuously purge themselves of these energies. Now, at times you may not even be aware that there are blocks. But if you entertain a thought about getting something and immediately follows an uneasy feeling somewhere inside of your body, like some doubtful feeling or some feelings of sabotage, self-sabotage, or self-doubt or fear, then that is another indication that there is something there to be cleared. And you must address it if you expect to move forward and achieve your goals. Of course, that is a synopsis of getting the things you want. Are you being wishy-washy about what you want? Think about that question for a minute. What is it that you want in your life? This year, this week, this month, this day, this hour, what is it that you want? Set a very strong and purposeful intention to achieve it. Ask yourself the right question as you set that intention. Whatever the manifestation is that you're given, act. Pray and act. Don't sit and pray and say, God, I want you to show me how I'm going to do this, when He has already shown it to you. Act on the revelation that you got, and then continuously purge. Purge those negative energies, those negative feelings, those thoughts. Guard your feelings. Make sure you're entertaining thoughts, ideas, circumstances that make you feel better about being here, about yourself. And then understand that those are blocks that will keep you stuck if you let them. Now, just in case, in closing, if you feel that you need to have some assistance in clearing those blocks that show up, then there is a page that you can go to help you to do that. If you're on Facebook, there's the energy clearing section there for you. And if you're not on Facebook, then you can send an email to info@thedrgwen.com, and I will be able to respond to you. Or you can go to thedrgwen.com/energy-clearing. And when you do that, you will land on a page where you can schedule a session or a few with me to get your energy cleared and to get you manifesting what you expect to manifest this year, this week, this day, this month. And I'd like to hear from you. So drop me a line and let me know how this has impacted you.